Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Jerry Miller. It's Thursday across the world, across Central Virginia, across Charlottesville and Albemarle County. It is great to be with you. I absolutely thoroughly enjoy connecting with you guys through this platform. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Show on the I Love CVille Network. A fantastic program lined up for you. Janet, Dob, and Cynthia Viejo joining us here on the I Love CVille Show to talk about the Bageladies, to talk about their business, to talk about what they love about Charlottesville. Cynthia, a successful real estate agent with Nest Realty. We're going to have a lot of fun spotlighting two successful entrepreneurs that have done it the right way and continue to prosper and grow their business. I'm sure you've been touched by this brand, whether on social media, whether at the farmer's market, whether their recently launched bus that is just awesome looking with its paint, with its branding on it. We'll talk about that. Ellen Dudley's already saying hello. What's up? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo estás? Give the show a like, give it a share. We got folks watching in Philadelphia, in Charlotte. We have folks watching in Northern Virginia, in Richmond, in Virginia Beach. And we love that. Give it a like, give it a share, guys. Before we go anywhere, let's thank some of the fine folks that make the show possible. First, let's give some love to Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. We are their proud advertising agency of record. Guys, let me tell you a snapshot of a phenomenal business. They are 4 generations strong. They started in 1969 with the first generation, and that was Mr. Wells. He was one man, some sweat equity, and he was a guy that was willing to grow a business with one truck. He would go to his first customer, he would service them successfully, and in 1969, he would head to the closest payphone, where he would call his second customer and say, "May I come to your home now?" Today, they are 4 generations strong with the headquarters right around the corner from Boden's on Harris, an office in Richmond, an office in the Shenandoah Valley, a Commonwealth-wide footprint, and almost 100 employees. These are the stories we celebrate on I Love CVille. We also celebrate the good doctor, Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. We love working with him as well as his advertising agency of record. Who's got your back? Dr. Wagner's got your back. Physical therapy, sports medicine, chiropractic care. He's got 5 doctors now and an army of people working from him in the old Quinn Farmer auction house. Go give him a check. Jerry Miller, Cynthia Viejo, and Janet Dob. We're going to talk Bageladies here on the I Love CVille Show. Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickower, and Lauren Linsky upstairs help me stay on track. And Cynthia and Janet, that's no easy task. Okay, they have the hard job. Let's go to the studio cam and let's welcome Cynthia and Janet to the show. I would like to start with you first, please, Cynthia. And I'm going to throw this question to you. Who is Cynthia Viejo? What is she like? What are her passions, her hobbies, her interests, what she loves about our community?
Well, first, let me just say I've known the Wells family forever. I've done
Really?
a lot of business with them, they're great company, great. They are 4 generations, and they're very solid people. So just wanted to share that little shout out. So, Cynthia Viejo, I've lived in Charlottesville since 1979. And actually, I came here, I was trained academically as an archaeologist. I was the assistant archaeologist at Monticello and working under Bill Kelso. And prior to that, I was a realtor, was an archaeologist in Williamsburg.
Love it.
And I worked for the Virginia Research Center for Archaeology, also an underwater archaeologist, and worked on the river there, underwater. So that was fun, that was cool, but I decided to make a shift and a change to real estate in 1980, and it's been 40 years. I'm a realtor with Nest Realty.
An associate broker.
Associate broker. I've been associate broker since 1985, actually. But yeah, so I'm a realtor. Been a realtor a long time. Love Charlottesville. I've always loved Charlottesville. I'm a true townie. I'm actually born in Brooklyn, but raised in San Diego. Spanish heritage. My father was from northern Spain, from Asturias. And so we have that commonality, which is nice. So Viejo means old man in Spanish, which is a kick in itself. But I've been a realtor a long time. Janet and I started this business some time ago. Janet will speak more to the business, but love Charlottesville, love the diversity in Charlottesville, love the light-filled community that we are, filled with light, and I love entrepreneurship and love animals. I'm a big supporter of animals, loving animals, very compassionate animal lover, people lover too. And I do a lot of work with organizations where I make my humanity bracelets. I create these one-of-a-kind, beautiful bracelets that I sell at the Charlottesville City Market, and 100% of the proceeds goes to the animal rescue heroes in the area. I mean, I've donated to Green Dogs Unleashed, to the House Project, to peaceful passings for senior dogs, you know, to a lot of people, and believe in the work that they do, and they get 100% of the proceeds, and I've raised over $12,000 for them with the sale of my bracelets.
I love it.
So love this town. It's a good community, very heartfelt. Yeah, it's a good place.
That's a great starting point. We'll get you, people are responding well. I'm already getting feedback. I'm going to relay that feedback to you. We'll get you to slide a tad closer to that mic. I'm going to throw the same question to you about the flip book of your life. We call it the birth story.
Oh, okay.
The show is yours, Janet. Anywhere you want to go.
Okay. My name is Janet Dob, and I was born in New Jersey. I learned how to bake bread from my grandmother when I was 5 years old. And every Saturday, my choice was to go bake bread with Grandma rather than clean the house as the chores. So Grandma used to make these delicious loaves, and I never got that out of my soul. And I went to college, and I was still baking my own bread. And after college, I started a bakery. And in the bakery, I made more desserts than I did bread until one day realized that I needed to provide a lunch product for someone in order for them to taste our desserts. So they would walk, the first 3 days of being open in the bakery, they'd open the door and say, "Do you serve lunch?" And I had to say no. So for the first 3 days, I think I grossed $18 because I couldn't get one to my, I didn't have lunch. So I was flipping through my grandma's recipe box, found a recipe for bagels, the formula, not the process. This was in the 80s, very difficult. Lenders was just coming up with their Bagelize America campaign. So in Colorado, bagels were not a big thing. I learned how to make a bagel, started making bagels, hated getting up really early in the morning to make them for the bakery. So I had to find a way to change the process so that I could make a bagel that could be baked fresh in about 10 minutes. So I started experimenting. And I stumbled upon a process. In fact, the AP did a story, and they called it the Accidental Bagel, because I was working in the kitchen. I got involved with a customer at the counter. What I was doing in the kitchen had gone way over time, so I just set them aside. And when I was cleaning up the workbench in the evening, I looked at the mistake, and I thought, aha, this maybe isn't such a big mistake. And then I started dissecting it and learning how the benefits of what the mistake was really a new invention. And so I perfected it, started making bagels in mass, keeping them in the freezer, baking them fresh in 10 minutes, and getting the bakery open without having to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Love it.
So, which is important.
Yes.
She's not a morning
important
person.
For so many people.
Love it. It's important for so many people.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then I was involved in a venture capital deal in Colorado to grow this new invention of this bagel, and everything collapsed during the 90s tech crash, and I lost everything. So I have a friend who lives in Free Union, Virginia, and she brought me out for Christmas in 1996, and she said, "Janet, move into my carriage house. You won't have to worry about your overhead. You'll get a job. You'll fall in love. You'll figure out how to get your bagel business back." So just living her prediction, and I moved here in 1997. I had been familiar with Charlottesville because I had been visiting her family since 1990, so I was quite familiar with Charlottesville. We love the community of Charlottesville. It was kind of laid back, small town, but yet big enough where you don't really know everybody. Not everybody knows all of your business, but still a small town feel. And then in October, I met Cynthia.
October
we fell in love 97.
That's amazing.
So we've been together for 21 years, to almost 22.
It's amazing.
And it's just been a wonderful experience.
I love this story. That's 2 sizzle reels or 2 highlight reels ready to be caught. Cynthia's and Janet's, we will send them to you. Can I ask, I love asking this question. So my wife and I actively involved in this business. No easy task. Having your partner run the business with you from day to day. I love asking this question. Will you introduce to us the love story?
Oh, the love story. You start.
Well, I got to tell you,
Yeah?
I was smitten the first time I met her.
Yeah?
I was totally smitten. We were at a party. A friend of ours had thrown a 40th birthday party for her partner, and we were there, and I was out on the river, out on the James River with a good friend, kayaking all day, and showed up at the party, and Janet had just come to town and come to the party, and it was kind of interesting, so we kind of talked, and it wasn't long before we really connected and started going out, and that was it.
That was
22
all she
years
wrote.
ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What-
We have,
So-
what?
I always like to joke, I was new in town, so I was new meat in town for the lesbian community. So I was collecting telephone numbers. And she was one of the 3 telephone numbers that I collected.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the best telephone number you
That's
collected.
right.
The best
Yes,
and you were like the
she's-
mayor of Charlottesville by then, weren't you?
I
Because you
was
had known everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're a people person and outgoing.
Yeah. Totally.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I
it was
love that
sweet.
story.
It was really sweet.
What are we missing here about the story?
What are we missing?
You said you were smitten.
I was
Yes.
totally smitten, but I didn't want to do the game. I didn't want to do game.
Okay.
I wanted the real thing, and so there was a choice point where it was like, it's okay if it doesn't end up the way we want it to end up. So it's okay, but she didn't want to. I was walking
didn't-
away, and
didn't
she
wanna
walked
let her
toward
go.
me. So that was it, and that was almost 22 years ago.
Were you equally as smitten?
I was after 11 days.
After-
so
oh,
that was
why
so,
11
so
days?
well,
This
I
is
don't know, that just so
She
happened.
She took 11 days. Me, it was a little earlier than that.
I
You
had-
and I, we make decisions right
Yeah.
away, right?
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
But see, I had other telephone numbers.
Okay.
I had to do my
Oh,
research.
Options are power.
I had to do
says
my research.
Janet.
It's true. It's very true.
She's
that
the
wa-
love of my life now.
So yeah, we're very different in a lot of ways too.
How so?
Well, you just kind of got me. I'm.
We're so similar, I can
very
already
much.
tell.
Well, first of all, I have a big personality.
Yeah, me too.
And I have to
You're
remember.
alpha.
Yeah, well, I am, and I have to remember when I need to turn the rheostat down.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, I struggle with that sometimes too, because I can be a little overwhelming.
Same.
Sometimes. Yeah,
Same.
exactly. So I mean, it's it's who I am. I'm Spanish.
Right.
Hot Spanish girl. It's just the way I am,
We're
and I don't make
passionate people.
apologies for it.
Right.
It's just who I am, and
Love
some
you.
some people like it and some people don't, and it's okay.
Right.
I have no attachment.
Right. The older I've gotten, the more I realize I don't care if they don't.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's
okay.
okay.
It's okay. But I'm a very passionate human being. Very loyal.
Same.
Very loyal, and like a golden retriever that way. And if I got your back, I really got your back. I mean, it's just I'm a protector. I'm a mama bear. I'm all those things.
I love it. Let's thank some of the folks that are watching right now. Andre Xavier's watching. He's good people, the owner of CVille Hop On Tours. One of your colleagues in real estate, Ray Cadell, is watching. Larry Rhodes is watching right now. Jonathan Galasso in Richmond. Grace Meja is watching in Crozet. Tim Ryan in D.C. Dan Barnes is watching. Let's head over to your page, Janet, and thank some of the folks that are watching on your page here. And if you guys could give it a like and a share, no matter where you're watching, that would mean the world to us. You might have to help me with one of these names. Not Janet Luff. I can say that one. Janet Luff is watching. Edward Toole is watching. Is it
that's my cousin.
Seamain Flanagan?
Yeah.
Does that
she's
say
here
right?
in town.
Yeah.
Shemaine.
Shemaine Flanagan.
Sweetheart.
Thank you for watching. Give it a like and give it a share anywhere you're watching. Bacon Bagels is popping right now on social media. Jonathan Galasso, and Jeffrey Allen, and Terry Steele, and Trish Tuttle are all giving you guys some props right now. I want to talk about the brand. I love it. I love the packaging. You see it on screen. I want to talk about the evolution of the business, and I'll start open-ended and then ask some specifics. Maybe throw it to you, Janet.
So as I had mentioned earlier, I had lost everything in Colorado, came back here, started the bagel business. It was about 2.5, 3 years after Cynthia and I had gotten together, and I was working at micro lending here in the Thomas Jefferson Planning District, and it was Dave Norris's old job. And I was helping other entrepreneurs manifest their dreams, and
amazing at it, I might add.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
I kept getting messages back from the Rocky Mountains. Oh, we just can't find any bagels like the bagels you used to make. And the kicker for me was when I was sitting at my computer at microlending, and I got a message, and the World Wide Web was very new at that point. It was, emails were kind of new. A young college student in Boise, Idaho, messaged me and said, "Are you the person who made the bagels that my mother fed me every morning before I went to school in Fort Collins, Colorado?" And that was a shocker to me. So here's this kid who grew up on our bagels, went to college, and for some reason he's thinking about them while he's on the computer. That's awesome. And sends a message. So when I told Cynthia that, Cynthia was like, "Well, you need to quit your job and we need to get this bagel business going again." And so that was really the impetus for it. And, you know, because she was able to support us through the process, we got a small business loan from the Small Business Administration. And we had tried to set up a scenario where we were contract manufacturing, where we could just do the marketing piece, get all the contracts through the stores, et cetera. But it just didn't work because the process is just a little bit different than a typical bagel process. So we couldn't get that process fit into an existing bagel manufacturer.
That was conventional.
Right. And we wanted also to be organic and all natural and all of those things. And didn't,
with the health benefits that we have with our bagel.
Right. And we didn't want to meld allergen issues into our product by producing in a facility that also had nuts and eggs and all of those things. So
we pride ourselves on not having any of that.
I know.
Right. Facility.
That's a big part of the marketing. That's a big part of the brand.
Right.
And it's a separation point from competition on the market from you and your competitors. Yeah. I mean, that would be something that I would like even spotlight and like champion and highlight even more, because so many of the competitors embody those elements.
That's very
right.
true.
And we hear that from our customers who buy us who have food allergies. We have a group of people in Canada who say they can't find anything that's not risking cross-contamination.
Right.
So we have some people who order them. We send them up to Toronto. It's not cheap to send them, but that's their deal. We can't afford to pay for that.
So let me just say, Janet, speak to the fact that, we went up to the facility to discuss the possibility of like contract manufacturing.
Right. So Cynthia was on a business trip somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I was in Rockville, Maryland, having spent 6 months working with this company. It looked like it was moving like it could work to manufacture our bagels for us. And on this one final day, they wanted to change the nature of what we were doing and make it more conventional.
And that was the end, right?
That was the end of it. Yeah. And so I'm driving home in the car.
That was the dropping of a microphone
moment. Right. Because that's your whole mission.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like they don't understand who you are as entrepreneurs if they're willing to do that.
Exactly.
Right.
They didn't grasp the concept.
So I was on my cell phone, which was, a brick, a big, giant brick cell phone. And I'm talking to Cynthia on the phone, and I'm crying. I said, "Cynthia, we just wasted 6 months, and it's just not going to work." She said,
"Screw them.
Screw
we'll do it ourselves."
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
It's awesome. What did you see? Janet said she went to you, and you said, "Let's launch this business. Let's go." Mm-hmm. And you have entrepreneurship in your blood.
Right.
Associate broker, realtor, you're running a business, your own business.
Right.
What did you see? Talk to me about the sense of confidence that you were feeling, why you wanted to go down the road. Because running a business is no easy task.
No.
We know the stats. 80% of small businesses fail in their first 3 years.
That's 85%.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is brutal. Yeah. It is brutal. People don't get that. So let me just, first of all, I'm very protective of her, for one thing. I'm a mama bear. That was running in my head. I really knew that what we had was a wonderful, amazing thing. And I knew that the experience that Janet had in Colorado and the success that she had there and the loyal customers that she created in that setting. So, and I believed in the product. I mean, we are not just bread. We are, first of all, number one, we're not a .com. We're not glitzy. I joke about this sometimes, but I had heard on the NPR that, there's a .com company that's called
Coffee and a Bagel.
Coffee and a Bagel. I only showed up because bagels and coffee. And it was kids in their early 30s had started this dating app. Did you hear me?
I heard this. I saw this on Shark Tank.
And they got
It was on Shark Tank.
32 million injection. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
You know, we're not a .com. We're not glitzy. We make bread.
Right.
We make really, really good, healthy bread.
Right.
And, you know, when we came out of the gate, we'd gone up to QVC because we were going to think we could help grow the company that way. And people loved the product, absolutely loved the product. And we got up there and we were in front of all the buyers. And the buyer that came to our table was on the Atkins diet, and he never tasted the product. Everybody loved it. He never tasted it, so it never got anywhere.
His assistant even was
said,
behind him and said, "This is an unbelievable product."
Of course,
he said, "No."
You know the story about Atkins. He ended up
dying
of a heart attack. So, but the point is, isn't that an interesting situation? So it's just, I know that what we have is amazing, and you just one foot in front of the other. You just keep doing what you got to do. And when we came out of the gate, that was when the carb craze hit. So we survived the carb craze, which was huge. Now the gluten-free thing has come in. You know, it's about 3 or 4 years now, and we know anyway that in order to create a gluten-free product, make it taste good, you got to fill it with fat and sugar. I mean, that's reality. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy.
Right.
So I always enter into conversation with people when they say I'm doing a gluten-free thing, and I say, well, tell me more about that. Why are you doing that? And I give them some ideas or some suggestions. It could be about the sugar. You could have wheat belly syndrome. Maybe it's not about the wheat. You know, so we have these kinds of conversations to help educate people, but it took time to do that. So we're on the other side of the carb craze. We're on the other side. So it's not as much education that needs to happen now, but believe me, it was not an easy task.
I bet.
And continues to be a struggle, I mean, in some ways. You know, working with, we're growing our company through distribution and taking on many more stores.
And that's no easy task.
That is not an easy task.
Yeah.
And
are you buying shelf space?
Well, basically you do.
Yeah.
Because the deal you make with the grocery store is it could be inclusive of a number of different things. Slotting where you pay cash.
Right.
Or slotting where you give free product. A whole series of promotions that you have to support. Every grocery chain has a different set of, they call them marketing baskets, where you can buy into these programs where maybe you advertise in their newsletter, or maybe you work with them on their app, or maybe it's a fuel program or so forth. So yes, you do. It's expensive to get in the grocery stores. We're in about 1,000 grocery stores now.
That's awesome.
We do, though, have 1,500 grocery stores that would like us on the shelf, but we right now can't afford the slotting.
Really?
So expensive.
So we're trying to raise capital so that we can get
How are you trying to raise the capital?
We're
GoFundMe
putting
at
out.
all?
No,
No?
we are trying to raise equity capital.
Okay,
We
private
have
equity.
private equity. We have a $1.2 million raise that we're pitching for 20% of the company.
Get out of town. So you're valuing it at what, about $6
$6
million?
million.
It's a $6 million valuation.
Right, and that's on the low side, I'd say.
Love that right there.
Yeah,
Just
no,
got
that's
the
worth it.
hair
I mean,
up on
What
my
we
arms right
manufacture does not exist in the
I
market.
know it doesn't.
Except for the product that we manufacture.
Right.
Can
It's
you?
huge.
And it has.
Are you able to protect it in any capacity with?
We have a
patented.
patent.
We have a patent.
We have a patent, and we are working on a follow-on patent for the new claims that we've discovered since the original patent.
Because of 60% fewer sugars, 0 glucose. I will say as well, we just came off of a VCU. Why don't you talk about the VCU program?
Yeah, so we were actually selected by a program at VCU Business School to work with our company to determine what kind of export capabilities there would be within the world stage. What would be the best international trade that we could do? So a group of about 5 MBA students worked tirelessly and did a really great job on putting together a whole international marketing campain for us.
Which was
a
great.
marketing
That's
plan.
amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Marketing plan for
It
us.
costs millions of dollars.
So we they're actually their first. So they took our product and all the demographics and all the interesting, all the things that you need to know about a particular country, barriers to entry, competition, people who are.
So it's like a
doing
case study
things.
for the program?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
Exactly.
so fortunate.
Yes,
They're wonderful
absolutely.
people.
Yeah.
And they say that the Netherlands would be a good opportunity for us, as well as Canada.
Okay.
And so Canada being much closer to us than the Netherlands, making distribution a lot easier, we're going to be moving forward and dissecting their plan and coming up with the people we talk to in Canada.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
there.
Shirley Crump says hello.
Yeah.
She's giving
Hey,
me some
Shirley.
props.
Hey, from Mexico.
Really?
¿Cómo estás?
Hey, Shirley. ¿Cómo estás? She lives in Mexico ahora?
She and her wife own a restaurant in Mexico City.
I love
We
it.
met her in Madrid this
love
year.
it.
We met her in Madrid. We sat next to each other
We got people
at a
watching
restaurant.
in Mexico right now.
Hola, Shirley.
We got somebody watching outside Chicago right now. Someone outside Atlanta as well. Give the show a like. Give it a share. There was a sizzle reel that you need to find in there, Harris, and that it's a highlight reel that we need to cut and send to them about running the business, about the valuation, about the private equity, about the focus and goals of the business and growing it and scaling. What are the roles with you guys within the business?
Who does what?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do the day-to-day, the
Okay.
production day-to-day. Cynthia does social media.
Okay.
She does marketing, and she's just the
I'm behind the scenes, more
behind the
sales and marketing,
scenes, yeah.
except for Saturday. It's
Yeah.
front and
Saturday.
center, and I'm on stage,
Yeah.
as you well know.
Yeah, and you
At
like
City
the
Market.
attention in
Oh.
there.
I mean, you give me a
embrace it.
microphone, and I'm like home.
I love that
That's
about you. Well, so what do you love about the, Cynthia, I'll throw this to you. What do you love about the business, how it's going? I mean, you're going to work with the love of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. I love that with my business.
Sure.
It comes with challenges. I also try to throw this. We're 11 years old in May, this business.
Congratulations.
Started in a recession in 2008. Out of my condo at the time. It's a rental property out of the villas at Southern Ridge. And how I could afford the mortgage was it was $1,004 mortgage and $125 HOA. And I had two buddies, and there was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I rented 2 of the bedrooms, 2 buddies for under market. Gave them a room for $400 each. I bet my mortgage was $204, and then I had the HOA and the upkeep. That's how I could afford to keep it. Okay, and then I was welcoming so we built Marina Ringstrom's website. I was welcoming marinas of the world into this condo that was this bachelor-infested pad. You know how hard it is to close a deal with the Marina Ringstroms of the world in a bachelor-infested pad? It's no easy task. Long story short, we got some traction in 11 years in May. And where I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to throw it to you, I'm like, the things that I love about the business is that no day is the same. I love the people. I love doing this. I still clean the toilets and take the trash out here. It's glamorized entrepreneurship on shows like Shark Tank and The Profit is this rock star life, but it's the furthest from it. Can I throw that to you and you go anywhere you want?
Well, certainly, but let me just, if you want to talk about Shark Tank for a split second, everybody said, you got to go to Shark Tank, you got to talk to Shark Tank. Till we researched it, and we found out, well, first of all, it's Hollywood.
Right.
There's no other way to phrase it. It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's owned by Disney.
Right.
And if you click through to learn, if you go on Shark Tank, not only do they, the proprietorship, they own the rights to it, even if you don't get, asked to come on Shark Tank. I mean,
what do you mean?
Oh, so the legalese behind the application for Shark Tank is at least 10 or 12 pages buried into these little links that say,
little disclaimers?
click here, click here, click here. And when you keep clicking here, you learn that by signing the application, you grant to Disney exclusive right to use your trademarks, your patents, your trade secrets, et cetera, et cetera.
Even if you're not selected.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then
That's dirty.
if you
Yeah.
are selected, and even if you don't get funded, you have given up 5% of your company to Disney.
Really? So
Right,
if
because
you
they say that the marketing
exposure.
you get, the exposure is
worth
the
5%
value of
in
5% of your
perpetuity.
company in perpetuity.
That is
Exactly.
absurd.
So of course
That's
we've
a
never,
racket.
we've never been on
Yeah.
Shark
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
businesswomen and you're intelligent and you know that's dumb to do
Yeah.
that. I
Now-
didn't know that.
Now, granted, Bantam Bagels,
Yeah.
they went on Shark Tank.
They were two
got
MBA grads.
Two MBA grads. They got on Shark Tank. The product that they're making, they were able to, with the Shark Tank money that they got, and of course I don't know how much they had to give up. They were able to scale. They got into Starbucks. Never made a dime, but last year sold for $34 million. So, there's hope.
Well, I would think, it sounds like you guys are undoubtedly going the right way with the private equity path, and you're giving up 20%. You still have control of the business. 1.2 would allow you guys to scale big time.
Exactly.
It's going to allow you to pick up, what'd you say, an extra, was it 1,000 or 1,500 grocery stores to cover the slotting fees?
Right. And beyond that, because they would just give us that start. The ones we already have in the box, so to speak.
Why do we think the grocery distribution model is the best model?
That's an interesting question.
Very interesting question, because
the margins are
slim.
Very slim. Pennies on the dollar.
Right.
So when we first started, we had a very limited amount of capital.
Okay.
And because we had to build our manufacturing space, we needed that very limited capital to build the manufacturing space. So we worked with the New Biz Virginia incubator, which was located in Verona, Virginia at the time. And we worked with them on a 5-year contract that we would have access to the space. We still paid rent, but it was under market. They helped to provide some of the upfit costs, the plumbing, electricity, the surfaces, but we had to buy all our own equipment for the 5-year term of the lease. And after 5 years, the incubator went bust, but we stayed on that space for another 5 years. So because we had to build manufacturing, we didn't have the money to pay for retail space in a high rent district.
Understood.
We couldn't afford a store in downtown Charlottesville.
And we do know that retail, direct to the consumer, is where you make your money. We know that, but we didn't have the funds to do that. We had to do this. And then what we've created here could fund the retail, so now we have our bus, which is our ambassador.
Right.
Go ahead.
So starting with the fact that we had to do wholesale distribution because of our lack of capital, it has unfortunately, but by design, I guess, of what manufacturing is and the tiny little margins that you get, taken us until now to really be able to branch out into direct-to-consumer retail with we were doing the market, that was great, but now with the bus.
And I love the bus because it's a marketing play and a point of sale.
Exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
And the bus is something
and the wheels go round and round.
Right.
It's not like you got a bricks and mortar that's like
stationary.
Right here, this is where you are, they have to come to you.
You could totally scale the model through the bus concept alone.
Right.
Correct.
Where you could have a bus in Richmond.
Or
a bus in Williamsburg.
That could potentially
and you
be a
can license the bus, to other markets.
Right.
I love that idea.
Right.
Is that the concept?
Yeah.
Well, it's part of the plan to figure out, can the bus become the
sustain itself.
franchise and sustain itself?
Yeah.
Or do we then use the bus as a stepping stone to a brick and mortar? So that's really where we are at this point. It's like, let's drive that bus, have the wheels go round and round, drive the sales on the bus, and then determine, is it now time to, we took this step from the market to the bus. Does the bus do another bus and another bus and another bus, or does the bus do a brick and mortar?
So we're figuring that piece out.
So we know that franchise is real attractive for this product.
Yeah, because you get the cash up front too.
Well, it's not just that. It's just that this product that we created with this bacon bagel that has to be, that becomes a bagelini.
Right.
Is like the Whopper at Burger King. It's like the signature product of this beginning.
Sure. And once you have
bagel.
the signature product, then you can have a number of extensions off it. Coffee, sandwiches, whatever it may be. But this is the foundation.
Right.
I love this.
Right.
I love this. Have you considered, and I'm sure you have, I'm just spitballing with you guys, have you considered the B2C, the business to consumer, the business to the customer through the internet?
We have online sales.
Yeah, we have a web store.
Does it do well?
It does okay. We don't market it as much as we should.
Okay, because the margins are great there, right?
Yeah, they are.
They are. We are working with some of our investors to really develop a web store marketing plan.
Love it.
That we can really drive sales through the internet.
Did you throw it all on Amazon?
We looked into Amazon. It's very pricey.
It is.
One of our, our key things is our shipping costs are a little bit more because we do, if it's 90 degrees outside and something's going to sit in UPS, we use insulated bags.
Got it.
Which work really well. Our product can be sustained at room temperature for 7 days. But when we ship it, we want it to arrive at its destination no more than 3 days. And so we insulate it. But yeah, it's tough with Amazon Prime. Just let's go there. It's offering free shipping.
What we're talking about as well as potentially, which could help us in a big way, is opening up like freezer warehouses space in various places around the country.
Kind of the
California,
Amazon model
whatever.
with the warehouses.
Yeah, like California, so the shipping costs would be less. Because we ship all over the country anyway.
That's a
but
great
if we
idea.
if we had warehouse space in various places, in the country, that would support as well. We also, we have some really, so to get back to your original question about the pennies on the dollar thing for the wholesale. So the reason why we're really building the wholesale, sometimes some of these accounts are like, it takes 2 years to develop and to make it happen. But the plan is the larger the customer base is, the various stores and what have you, the more valuable we become, because that can be purchased by whomever, which could potentially be our 401k strategy at some point. Keep retail away from wholesale, like have it as two separate entities. This wholesale provides the product.
You're basically saying building the distribution takes so much time that even if the distribution's not making a ton of capital, having the distribution in place is the value proposition for someone to purchase.
Exactly. That was Bantam Bagel's value
Bantam
proposition.
Bagel's model. That's brilliant. You should do that. It's brilliant.
You are doing that. We're working on it.
We're working on it. So,
I'm so jazzed by this.
So Bantam Bagels had 16,000 points of distribution. That was their value.
Yeah.
Because they made no profit.
Right.
So
not like it's really healthy.
So we want to bring, so we want to develop, and I don't think we, with our product, will need 16,000 points of distribution before we get noticed by General Mills or Conagra or
and then they'll just roll you
Morrow
out.
Del Foods, exactly. And then they have the ability, because of their distribution network, to just roll us out.
I would love if the private equity partner was like a General Mills or a Conagra.
That would be
amazing.
Great. That's kind of our 401k strategy. But in the meantime, we're expanding. We just 500 more store here, 250 more stores there. It's happening.
You guys are getting a lot of props here. So let's talk to the audience here. Jeff Leach.
Hey,
says,
Jeff, how you doing?
Tell him you guys rock. Best wishes. He says, bring the bus to D.C. It will work in D.C. Jacqueline Ann Myers. Bageladies reinvented the bagel for the better. When they get a new bus, I want to live in the old bus. She's from, what is it? She's on the show.
Yeah.
She's from the nonprofit.
She's Peaceful Passage.
Peaceful Passage.
She's one of the recipients of my money, of my sale of my humanity bracelet.
I love it.
She does amazing work.
Betsy Cover Crawford.
Yeah, Betsy. She's
you
from
guys
North
are
Carolina.
So inspiring.
Yeah,
you guys rock.
Hi, Betsy.
I'm loving the show. Let's see who else. Let's give some props to Jonathan. He's watching in Crozet. We got
Jonathan
Donna Jenkins. Jonathan Kaufman. No, Jonathan Galasso. Jonathan Kaufman, of course, of Ness, right?
Yeah.
Abby Tenenbaum Guskin is watching. She's loving what she's seeing. Robbie Lawson, thank you kindly for watching. Give the show a like, give it a share. We're talking with Cynthia and Janet, who I'm truly finding inspiring. We're showing photos of the bus on screen. Can I ask you about the phenomenal branding and the wrap that is the bus and how that manifested?
This girl right here.
That's great vision.
She's good.
Thanks. Well, I have to give a shout out to our dear friend Scott Marr, who's a graphic designer with World Strides, and he gave me a lot of tips. He was my mentor through it all.
Go ahead. I'm sorry
so we wanted it to have the personality of us from the market And so
that's why we chose a bus, by the way, because the city market at Charlottesville City Market, we have a very loyal following, but it's very experiential. People come in, we yak, we tell stories, they show us pictures of their children, we tell jokes, you know, whatever. It's just, it's a nice experience. So we bought a bus instead of a food truck because we wanted it to be more experiential. Not that people are coming onto the bus, but it grabs attention. You know, you can see inside the bus, you can see what it looks like inside, you can talk to the grill masters. Where typically you don't have that option when somebody's in a food truck. There's no relationship between the people on the food truck and the people that are outside that are receiving the food. It's just being passed through a window. So we wanted to do more than that to make it more experiential.
I think it was brilliant because the food truck category is saturated. You don't see a bus.
Right.
We're the only one.
We're the only bus
Brilliant.
so far.
It is utterly brilliant. Stephanie Wells Rhodes of Intrastate.
Hi,
She's
Stephanie.
watching right now. She says, "Hey, I just love Cynthia. I wish them nothing but the best in the bagel business.
We love you at
rock."
Interstate too.
Yeah, she's watching now and she's giving you some props. And this is amazing. Beth Ann Carta. Hi, Cynthia. I'm watching from Norway right now.
Oh my goodness.
My old neighbor, is that what she said? She's
Yeah,
doing that?
yeah.
Old neighbor. I'm watching from Norway right now. I wish you nothing but the best.
That's sweet.
You know, one of the things I've noticed with your brand, and I'm just going to throw this, any of you guys respond, is you guys it's not a product. It's a lifestyle. It's like a brand. It's like when people are touched by the brand, it like embodies some of their, like, it touches them like soulfully and from a heart standpoint. They understand the health benefits. You're building a culture, I guess I should say.
Right.
Throw that out to you guys anywhere you want to go.
A culture of light.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that light can enter the darkness, but the darkness cannot enter the light. I mean, we had this horrible experience last year with that whole,
2017.
Unbelievable. And we were there. We were there. Very scary.
Me too. I was right out front.
We were right there. And they were coming for us. And it was scary. But I just want to say that before this, we were given the option of not doing the market because of what was happening that day. And Janet asked me that question. The first thing that popped into my mind was Dirty Dancing. And Patrick Swayze, when he walks in and he sees Baby in the corner and says, "Nobody puts Baby in the corner." I looked at Janet and I said, "Nobody puts Baby in the corner. Of course we're going to be there." And we were. We had to break down in 10 minutes because it was scary what was happening. They were coming from there to the market.
That's a sizzle reel. Look at that. He's grabbing the pen. He knew that was a sizzle reel. Keep going. You're on fire right now.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, it was very scary. And watching it felt like we were in Aleppo, watching the helicopters above us and that sound and the horrificness of in fact, it was a brother-in-law of one of our Nest people in North Carolina who lost his life. He was a policeman in Richmond, that when the helicopter went down. So it was a horrific day. It was scary as could be, but we were there because nobody puts Baby in the corner. And I mean, I have to tell you, as I said earlier, this is a very light-filled community. And darkness cannot enter the light. And I think, so we sell light.
Yeah.
You have a way with words.
Yeah.
And everything that August 12th stand for went against everything you guys stood for.
Absolutely.
I mean, talk to me about that.
And
let's get the sizzle reel going here.
People, let me just say this. People came into our booth when all this was going on, and it was about paying it forward. People were buying bagelinis for other people, and that was kind of when I really started to say, because it really came home to me, that's why we're Peace and Love Bagels. Peace and love. Peace. I say that to every customer. I look them in the eyes and I say it, eyeball to eyeball. And I'm getting a little tearful because it's true. So there was somebody there that was down here from Philadelphia, beautiful man, beautiful smile. And he came to visit Charlottesville, had never been here before. And all this was going on. And I looked at him and I said, "You take that smile out there and you show your compassion."
It's amazing.
And he did.
It's amazing. I love your freaking passion. I feel it. And I feel the same way. And I was out there because I wanted to say, with my son, I want to be like, I was there firsthand.
Right.
And what you're reading in the textbooks, I was there.
Right.
And I'm so frustrated with how everything played out. And we're just trying to do our small part with this show to help the community heal by featuring your brand, by featuring Charlottesville. Right. Our tagline is the best of Charlottesville. And I want to throw it back to you. And you were you are resonating with the viewers. Abby Tenenbaum Guskin, Cynthia, I love that answer. Bless you both and your true vision. Thank you, Bagel Ladies. Eyes are the windows of your soul. Cynthia, you embody that undoubtedly.
That she does. That's why I love her.
I have to throw it back to you. You've been here since 1979. I've been here since 2000. How have you seen the community improve, get better, get worse, where it needs to go, what it needs to continue doing? Open-ended question. I mean, you have the benefit of experience here in Charlottesville.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, we as a community have always, I believe that the downtown mall is the soul of Charlottesville.
Heartbeat of Charlottesville, undoubtedly.
Soul of Charlottesville,
yeah,
totally
I agree.
believe it. And thank goodness that Charlottesville, I mean, back in the day, I mean, everything closed up at 5, you know, there was more, you know, I guess banks and whatever downtown, fewer restaurants, fewer stores and whatever. So we as a community have worked on trying to continue that the soul of Charlottesville theme, which I really appreciate, trying to figure it out. And it's beautiful. I mean, I see it as a really good thing that's happened. And I appreciate that because, there were a lot of communities that opened up, Raleigh being one of them, a lot of communities that had they closed up streets and had walking malls, and they opened them back up because it just didn't work. And we've stuck with it since the 70s. And I think it's been a great thing for Charlottesville because it is the soul of Charlottesville. And last year, I do a lot of work with animals, as you know, and I've done this in the past for the Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA. I did a dogs and cats around town with statues, and artists created them and sold raffle tickets and made money for the SPCA. And most recently, last year, did a Compassion Animals on Parade on the downtown mall. And the intention of it for me, first of all, because I really wanted to focus on, that's one of the reasons why Cynthia, always post on my Facebook page, because I wear a lot of different hats, but I will share stories about beautiful stories about animals, about people, about whatever, and all I say is, and a lot of times, is this is what humanity looks like. This is what humanity looks like. Because I think people forget about humanity, because they're so caught up in the ugliness.
And the hate.
And the hate. It's like...
Especially because it's social.
It's crazy. I don't like that. So I'll do that a lot. And for me, it's a reminder to say, let's shift the attention from here over here, because if we shift it to here, this is what humanity looks like. People will get it, and they'll anchor it into their consciousness, and continue, and continue with humanity. So I did a Compassion Animals on Parade, and my focus was so everybody could win. The monies that were raised would be donated. In this case, it was Green Dogs Unleashed. All the stores who had, bless their hearts, for a whole year had been struggling. Stores were shuttered because they couldn't, the rents have gotten pretty high.
Astronomical
Yeah. On the downtown mall.
40 a square.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Is it up to 40 now?
It is ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. I mean, what is it, the story about capitalists eat their young? I mean, it's just, that's the way it is, unfortunately, in America. It's not about supporting small business entrepreneurship. It's like a big agribusiness. They're the ones that get the money. It's not the little people.
It's like 7 people making all the money.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to support the stores because they're working their hardest, and they're
business is brutal.
Totally. It's not an easy day-to-day thing. So I wanted to support them, get people into the stores so I could support the stores, make the money for Green Dogs Unleashed, and everybody wins.
And celebrate the artists.
And celebrate the artists who created these amazing statues. Like, so creative and so amazing. It was Compassion Animals on Parade. So hence I make these, I don't have one on,
bracelets.
but I make humanity bracelets.
I love it.
And they sell for $25 from my heart. And in fact, I just sold 3 just yesterday. I haven't told my people yet, but which is, because people, and everybody's wearing them around town.
I love it.
I mean, $12,000 worth of bracelets are walking
That's
around
legit.
this town. Yeah.
I love that. that. That's the end of that sizzle reel, Harris. That was amazing right there. You guys have filled an hour, and it's been the easiest hour to fill. You are rock stars. People are saying that you guys are rock stars. We'll thank some of the people. Betsy Crover, Crawford, Michael Guthrie.
Michael Guthrie. Hi, Michael.
Back in the mix. Michael, we love you on the show. Erica Von Cannon. She's watching right now. Give it a like, give it a share. Support these ladies at the farmers market. Joe Moore says hello.
Joe Moore.
Louise Miller.
Yeah.
like and a share. I want to close with this, and you guys, Michael Smith, welcome to the show. You guys can go anywhere you want. You guys embody what we try to embody on this program, and we have 2 names for it, and it's either social entrepreneur or conscious capitalist. Like, we run a for-profit business that is committed to making Charlottesville a better community, like improving and bettering our footprint since we arrived in 2000. He's buying a home. He's getting a raise, getting raises upstairs. I want to give them the raises each year so they can do what they want. But we can still run a for-profit business while making Charlottesville better. This is what we're trying to do here. Anywhere you guys want to go, I feel like your business and your brand undoubtedly embodies this. And we'll close the program on this note about how Charlottesville and the community in totality, how meaningful it is to your brand and your business. Janet, why don't you go first?
Well, I think one of the most important things you need to know as an entrepreneur is when you hire people, they become a part of your family because your business is your baby. So you're hiring people who are not just workers. They are people who you will spend more time with than you spend with the love of your life because they are working 8 hours a day, sometimes more. Exactly. Yeah. Everyone needs to be valued. Not everyone has the same abilities, but everybody's own abilities are extremely valuable to every company that you want to create. So you need to do your best to make sure that they can live a prosperous life outside of the business. I think it's our responsibility as entrepreneurs to do our best to pay a living wage so that the struggles that they have as people falling in love, getting married, having children are not going to create stresses that interfere with their ability to do their job.
Nice.
So, we're creating a group that...
A culture.
A culture.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a culture.
I love it.
Everybody is valued.
I love it.
Yeah.
Any final word for you? Anywhere you want to go, and then we got to get what's on that. Why don't you go, but let me relay the Susan Palma says best bagels ever. Beverly Hudson Wirtz, hi Cynthia, so good to hear all your good thoughts. See you next time we're in Virginia. Marcia Tooley Berg, I can't wait to try you out at Blue Ridge Buka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wendy
Bucha.
Poppin.
Wendy.
Wendy Poppin,
Wendy.
tell
Colorado.
Janet I
Wendy.
love her. I'm watching in Colorado right now. That's what she
Hey,
said.
Wendy.
And this is the power, guys, of social media when used for the positive, as opposed to getting on Facebook and social media and writing nastiness. So we're trying to use it for the positive. Cynthia, the final word of the show is yours.
Goodness. Peace and love. I mean, seriously.
Peace and
Let's
love,
make
and
it a
thank
better
you,
planet.
Jerry.
We close the program.
Yeah.
I totally agree. We close the show the same way every single time. And how we close the show the same way every single time is asking everybody to embody the golden rule. I am not making this about religion. I am making this about treating others how you want to be treated yourself. Open the door for somebody. Smile. Let someone go ahead of you at a red light. Pick up some trash. Help somebody. The golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself, and it will undoubtedly have a positive viral impact on our community. And folks, Charlottesville and Central Virginia needs it more than ever. My name is Jerry Miller. In 87 minutes, we have another program on the I Love CVille network today. It's the Caring for Creatures show. Mary Birkholz at Caring for Creatures, I admire her. For over 30 years, she's allocated her most precious commodity, which is her time, to saving the lives of the most at-risk animals at kill shelters across the eastern seaboard. She then brings those animals to a sanctuary in Fluvanna County where she gives them a second shot at life and tries to rehome them through her matchmaking process that is unbelievably successful. It's Caring for Creatures and the Caring for Creatures show, and now 86 minutes on the I Love CVille network. Thank you kindly for joining us. You guys were amazing.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, you were truly amazing. Truly amazing. I mean that. Truly amazing. Freaking love you. I swear. Let me get this out of the way so I can give you a hug, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're amazing. Love you.
I'm an ordained minister.
Love
That may
your-
be part of it.
Love your passion.
Yeah.
Love your passion. This is what you guys can expect from us. The show is on all your pages. If you have some time, it's best to respond to everybody who commented and just thank them. anytime I said sizzle reel, we
What
cut
does
a
that mean?
highlight. It's a highlight from the show.